The unknown is what scares people. I love being able to give that to my readers, to have that unexpected and unknown. When I start a book, I always know how it's going to end. I know who the bad person is, because if you don't know who the bad person is, then it's a bit of a surprise by the time you get to the end of the book. And I think we've all read books where we've thought, oh, the author just figured out who did it when I did on the last page. And it's a character you've never met. So I try to be really fair with my readers, and the way I can do that is just knowing those two things, is how it starts and how it ends. But as I'm writing, I'm also reading, and it's a lot of fun for me to figure out how the plot will twist and turn, and who the bad people are going to be supporting, and that sort of thing. Hello. Hello. Yeah? Shall we start? Will he be surprised by these?
Well, you will be flattered.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Wow.
My friends.
Okay. You're very nice. In America, according to the FBI, who collects the data every year from all the police departments in the country, 250,000 women in America every year are raped. And we don't really hear their stories. The only time we see them on the news is if they die. So I want to talk about their stories, and a lot of times in my books the victims actually survive. And that's a very difficult thing to do as a writer, because it's much easier when someone in a messy situation is dead and everyone feels really bad for them, but they don't have to talk about it. And to me, the challenge is to make sure that I'm being honest as a woman writing about violence against women, because it's something that we need to deal with. It's something that we need to talk about as a society, because we really don't do that. And hopefully I'm opening a conversation with my books.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I hope she enjoys it.
De drukker kwam van de week bij ons binnen en zei: dit is het 150.000ste exemplaar en Karin gaat het aan u overhandigen.
I'm very glad.
Yes?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
For me, in my work, the women are never saved by the men. I want them to be able to save themselves. And they save themselves in what I feel are realistic ways. For instance, at the end of Genesis, there's a very shocking scene where a woman is put into this awful situation, and her response is great fear and just that adrenaline rush from being in a bad situation. I think crime writers sort of lose sight sometimes of how horrible the situations are that we put our characters into. And we're basically big chickens in real life. I remember I was in London once, and John Connolly, Mark Billingham, and I were on an elevator, and the elevator stopped and the lights went out, and we all screamed like girls. So we're not very tough in our real lives, but in our books we tend to, be very careful, especially John, Mark, and I. We try to be very careful. When someone has a gun and points it into someone's face, that's a very serious thing. And you're not going to find the characters making jokes about that. Thank you. Hello.
I've read them all.
Oh.
I hope there will be next.
That's very sweet. Thanks. Writing is my life. It's really who I am. I remember when I was in kindergarten, the teacher always says, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? There were only 2 of us in my class who ended up doing what we said we wanted to do. And I wanted to be a writer, and there was another little girl who wanted to be divorced from a wealthy man. And we're the only 2 people who have done that.